Hare Krishna, wave.
Hare Krishna.
Because we're in a big scene here and it might be hard to see us at first.
It's my Queen's wave, because it is the Queen's Jubilee this week.
Okay.
Not that I'm the Queen.
She's a duchess, that's for sure.
Oh, yeah. No, as long as I'm not Sarah.
You might notice just over here we have what might look like a pretend statue or something, but it's actually really a peacock. And I think Bob has been sending pictures. We might even do a little
We might
video
not,
clip
because the
here.
internet connection isn't so good here, dear.
True.
But wait for my Bhakti Vision next Tuesday. You'll get as much peacock footage as you can take. But this is a live peacock in front of us.
Okay. That's not a live monkey, though, right in front of us that you might be seeing, or that one. And those cows also aren't live and they're in the shot. But this peacock is. And he was down here and kept spreading his beautiful feathers, plumes. Thank you.
But as you know, they say don't work with children and animals, because when you want to capture them and do what, then they decide to do something else. So there you go. Once we turn the camera off, we'll start doing a dance again.
Yeah. But for now, we're going to do a dance of the reading of Srimad Bhagavatam.
The dance of love.
The dance of love, yes.
Divine love.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Canto 3, Chapter 26, Verse 4. As his pastime, that Supreme Personality of Godhead, the greatest of the great, accepted the subtle material energy which is invested with three material modes of nature and which is related with Vishnu. Purport. In this verse, the word guna mayim is very significant. Daivim means the energy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and guna mayim means invested with the three modes of material nature. When the material energy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead appears, this guna mayim energy acts as a manifestation of the energies of the three modes. It acts as a covering. The energy emanated from the Supreme Personality of Godhead manifests in two ways, as an emanation from the Supreme Lord and as a covering of the Lord's face. In the Bhagavad Gita, it is said that because the whole world is illusioned by the three modes of material nature, the common conditioned soul, being covered by such energy, cannot see the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The example of a cloud is very nicely given.
There's two peacocks. Both peacocks means male.
Yeah.
And they're kind of a little bit territorial.
Yeah, they sometimes fight, so let's hope they don't do that here.
Yeah, well, if they do, you get to see it anyway.
Yeah, but it's a bit scary.
Okay.
All of a sudden, there may appear a big cloud in the sky. This cloud is perceived in two ways. To the sun, the cloud is a creation of its energy, but to the ordinary common man in the conditioned state, it is a covering to the eyes. Because of the cloud, the sun cannot be seen. It is not that the sun is actually covered by the cloud, only the vision of the ordinary being is covered. Can you see it? Similarly, although Maya cannot cover the Supreme Lord, who is beyond Maya, the material energy covers the ordinary living entities. Those conditioned souls who are covered are individual living entities. And he from whose energy Maya is created is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This is interesting because we were just reading Easy Journey to Other Planets. And the same point was coming up, which I was commenting on because we share our realizations with a group. And they were, the point is, Prabhupada is making the point that just because you can have eyes, it doesn't mean you can see. You need the sunlight, you need the electricity, and then I made the point of my realization was, and in my case, I need my contact lenses. I need to go one step further. Even if I've got the sunlight, electricity, I still can't see. I need my glasses and my contact lenses. So definitely I'm not going to see the Lord, and demand to see something which is definitely beyond my vision. Definitely material and spiritual beyond my vision. So I know I'm defective. I accept that. So.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Such a peaceful, tranquil place.
Oh, and these running peacocks.
You hear the water running.
Oh,
I think he must be feeding. Yeah.
Oh, someone's feeding them. How inconsiderate when we're reading. Although another peacock's going to come in your. Is it Aish? Oh no, he's run off. He's got scared.
Okay.
Oh, how inconsiderate.
Anyway, in another place in the Srimad Bhagavatam, in the first canto, 7th chapter, it is stated that Vyasadeva, by his spiritual vision, saw the Supreme Lord and the material energy standing behind him. This indicates that material energy cannot cover the Lord, just as darkness cannot cover the sun. Darkness can cover a jurisdiction which is very insignificant in comparison to that of the sun. Darkness can cover a small cave, but not the open sky. Similarly, the covering capacity of the material energy is limited and cannot act on the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is therefore called Vibhu. As the appearance of a cloud is accepted by the sun, so the appearance... Wow. Okay.
There's a peacock. I might jump up all of a sudden. Forgive me, dear viewers, because there's a crazy peacock behind us.
As the appearance of a cloud is accepted by the sun, so the appearance of the material energy at a certain interval is accepted by the Lord. Although his material energy is utilized to create the material world, this does not mean that he is covered by that energy. Those who are covered by the material energy are called conditioned souls. Did he just fly over the fence?
Yeah.
The Lord accepts the material energy for his material pastimes in creation, maintenance, and dissolution, but the conditioned soul is covered. He cannot understand that beyond this material energy there is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is the cause of all causes. Just as a less intelligent person cannot understand that beyond the covering of the clouds there is bright sunshine. So, of course, lots of distractions again while we're reading. We don't recommend that you try to read like this and really get something deep out of it, because it's not really happening. But anyway, here we are. So it's an interesting idea that darkness can cover a small cave but not the open sky. But of course at night darkness covers everything. And I've often heard that, actually that the material world is a place of darkness. Were it not for the sun, it would be all dark. So if the sun goes out, basically darkness covers everything. So in that sense darkness is quite all pervasive. But of course, in using this example, the sun is, when the sun is up, the darkness can only cover very, very few places. So interesting.
Yes, so it's interesting. Yeah, so for us, as I was saying, I think in one of the previous readings, I really feel, this might sound a bit weird, but some, Prabhupada's teachings come to life for me when we're, say, walking about, which we don't do often, but maybe going home when it's dark. When it's winter, so it might be 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, and it's dark, because I don't like the darkness, and I'm thinking it's only the street lights, and they're not that much, that are lighting things up, or shop fronts, whatever. Otherwise, this is the nature of this world. I think that it is dark, and it's only when we live off the mercy of the sun, we rely on it. Especially if you're scared of the dark or you're alone and you think, it'll be dawn or whatever, morning soon, and then you just feel so good. And so then realization is that just that globe in itself is what Krishna's energy, or it's not like it's God. People may study the sun and think it's so powerful, it's so this, it must be the supreme, but it's not even anywhere near Krishna's glories or attributes, and yet it is lightened up by Krishna, and that itself can just light up the whole material universe. See, they agree. So yeah,
Krishna explains he is the light of the sun and the moon in Bhagavad Gita. And we understand that the sun, because we were just reading yesterday when we were on the boat, that we were reading, remember, that the effulgence of the Lord is what is powering the sun.
Yes.
So like that.
But that's, I understood. So that's my point. That it's not even that, because if you just study, like we were saying on the boat yesterday, if you just study one of the plumes, whatever, feathers of the peacock, for me it would be like, God, there must be someone behind this creation, just to look at the colours and the way it's designed, and just forget looking at the whole animal, the bird, whatever, just the feather. So, okay, these two are going to fight. Look, I can see it. They did this yesterday. Oh dear. Hare Krishna. There's a peacock coming in view.
Hello. Proud.
And the other one's gone behind the camera. Okay. So, anyway, the point being that just by studying the sun, as amazing as it is, I mean, what is it? God, in this blazing heat, and it gives out all this light, you can appreciate something must be out there, That didn't just burst into existence, for heaven's sakes, Because even the stove and the temple don't just burst into existence, quite frankly, when I'm trying to put it on to cook. So, there you go.
Text number 5.
Okay. Can you see the peacock?
They're hopefully trying to pay attention to us, and we're just hoping he opens up his plumes.
All right. Text 5. Divided into varieties by her threefold modes, material nature creates the forms of the living entities, and the living entities, seeing this, are illusioned by the knowledge covering feature of the illusionary energy. Purport. Material energy has the power to cover knowledge, but this covering cannot be applied to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. It is applicable only to the praja, or those who are born with material bodies, the conditioned souls. The different kinds of living entities vary according to the modes of material nature, as explained in Bhagavad Gita and other Vedic literature. In Bhagavad Gita chapter 7, verse 12, it is very nicely explained that although the modes of goodness, passion, and ignorance are born of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he is not subject to them. In other words, the energy emanating from the Supreme Personality of Godhead cannot act on him. It acts on the conditioned souls who are covered by the material energy. The Lord is the father of all living entities because he impregnates material energy with the conditioned souls. Therefore, the conditioned souls get bodies created by the material energy, whereas the father of the living entities is aloof from the three modes. Okay, so the three modes of material nature are controlled by Krishna, and he is not subject to them.
Although he gives birth to the living entities that are affected by the modes, right?
Right.
It is stated in the previous verse that the material energy was accepted by the Supreme Personality of Godhead in order that he might exhibit pastimes for the living entities who wanted to enjoy and lord it over the material energy. This world was created through the material energy of the Lord for the so-called enjoyment of such living entities. Why this material world was created for the sufferings of the conditioned souls is a very intricate question. There is a hint in the previous verse in the word lilaya, which means for the pastimes of the Lord. The Lord wants to rectify the enjoying temperament of the conditioned souls. It is stated in Bhagavad Gita that no one is the enjoyer but the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This material energy is therefore created for anyone who pretends to enjoy. An example can be cited here that there is no necessity for the government's creation of a separate police department, but because it is a fact that some of the citizens will not accept the state laws, a department to deal with criminals is necessary. There is no necessity, but at the same time, there is a necessity. Similarly, there was no necessity to create this material world for the sufferings of the conditioned souls, but at the same time, there are certain living entities known as Nitya Buddha who are eternally conditioned. we say that they have been conditioned from time immemorial because no one can trace out when the living entity, the part and parcel of the Supreme Lord, became rebellious against the supremacy of the Lord. So, yeah, we don't need the material world because most people stay in the spiritual world. But because there are people who don't stay there, Prabhupada uses the term nitya buddha, which means eternally conditioned, but also that's understood that principle of eternally conditioned is because they've been conditioned for what seems like eternity because we cannot trace out the time at which they began to be conditioned. Not that they will remain conditioned forever and ever, amen. No, because that's clearly not the philosophy. Of course, we can become free from the conditioned nature. We can actually become free and return back to the spiritual world. So this principle, nitya buddha, is a temporary thing, although, interestingly enough, it says eternally conditioned. But that, as Prabhupada points out here, refers to eternity because we don't know from when it began. So it's like an eternity. But the analogy of the prison, they build the prison because there's criminals. We don't need a prison. You know what I mean? We don't need a prison. But because there's people who won't act properly, then we have to have a prison like that. And subtly, or Prabhupada is saying that this material world is also a
prison.
Prison.
Next paragraph. It is a fact that there are two classes of men who are obedient to the laws of the Supreme Lord, and those who are atheists or agnostics who do not accept the existence of God and who want to create their own laws. They want to establish that everyone can create his own laws or his own religious path without tracing out the beginning of the existence of these two classes. We can take it for granted that some of the living entities revolted against the laws of the Lord. Such entities are called conditioned souls, for they are conditioned by the three modes of material nature. Therefore, the words guna vichitra are used here. So, two classes of men, those who accept the laws of God and those who don't. So does that mean we are in that category because we're here?
Yes.
Oh dear.
Well, I am. You might not be because you're, as Guru Maharaj said once, goddess from Vaikuntha. Scum of the earth. In the material world, there are 8,400,000 species of life. As spirit souls, they are all transcendental to this material world. Why then do they exhibit themselves in different stages of life? The answer is given here. They are under the spell of the three modes of material nature. Because they were created by the material energy, their bodies are made of the material elements. Covered by the material body, the spiritual identity is lost, and therefore the word mumuhe is used here, indicating that they have forgotten their own spiritual identity. This forgetfulness of a spiritual identity is present in the jivas or souls who are conditioned, being subject to be covered by the energy of material nature. Jnana guhaya is another word used. Guha means covering. Because the knowledge of the minute conditioned souls is covered, they are exhibited in so many species of life. It is said in the Srimad Bhagavatam, 1st Canto, 7th chapter, again. The living entities are illusioned by the material energy. In the Vedas also it is stated that the eternal living entities are covered by different modes and that they are called tree-colored. Red, white, and blue. Interesting. Red, white, and blue living entities. Red is a representation of the mode of passion. White is a representation of the mode of goodness. And blue is a representation of the mode of ignorance. Red, white, and blue. So, I guess like the American flag.
Or Union Jack.
Or Union Jack. These modes of material nature belong to the material energy, and therefore the living entities under these different modes of material nature have different kinds of material bodies. Because they are forgetful of their spiritual identities, they think the material bodies to be themselves. 2. The conditioned soul, me, means the material body. This is called moha, or bewilderment. Okay, any thoughts?
No.
Well, just the red, white, and blue, I guess. Those are the primary colors. So the 3 primary colors represent the 3 different modes of material nature, and they mix together in order to create innumerable other colors. If you've ever seen like a big color palette, you know, there's like so many variations of color. So Prabhupada said, same with the 3 modes. 3 times 3 is 9. 9 times 3 is 27. 27 times 3, like that. And then you just keep multiplying, and you get all these, and you get 8,400,000 species of life. Now the last paragraph.
It is repeatedly said in the Katha Upanishad that the Supreme Personality of God is never affected by the influence of material nature. It is rather the conditioned souls, or the minute infinitesimal parts and parcels of the Supreme, who are affected by the influence of material nature and who appear in different bodies under the material modes. Like that. It's a material body, a peacock. It's interesting to meditate on that there's actually an eternal spirit soul
inside that body.
In that body, and like what we're reading and like explaining how we're eternal, and you know, majority of the jivas are with Krishna in the spiritual world. It's not that we're in the minority, and to think where you come from and you're full of knowledge, you're eternal, you're blissful, and yeah, you're strutting around in a peacock's body, beautiful as it is, but compared to what you could be and are, it's nothing really, it doesn't compare.
Well, no matter what body you strut around in, the ahankara covers you over and makes you think that body is attractive. Yeah, it's really interesting, because we look at the peacock and we think it's beautiful. But then we look in the mirror and we think we're beautiful.
Wow.
But we look like this little monkey, and I thought, you know, if someone asked me to marry that monkey, I probably wouldn't marry the monkey.
Oh, no.
You know, I mean, or a bumblebee, or, you know, a groundhog, or a duck.
But a fellow
monkey or duck or groundhog is going to be like, yo, look at that groundhog or that monkey. And
true.
They're going to think, you know, like we were just saying, these are peacocks. You know, so the peacock is like 2 peacocks. They're like, wah, you know, showing off their feathers and doing their dance to kind of ward off the other, because they have ego, they have a hunker, they're proclaiming their territory, and then they come together and fight. You know, so like Prabhupada said, eating, sleeping, mating, and defending. You know, and if that's all we're doing with our human life, then we're no better than the animals that eat, sleep, mate, and defend, like that. Okay, shall we call it a day?
Yeah.
Daisy Chain?
Yeah.
Okay, and thank you all very much for tuning in again. So this is our last day in Govinda Dweep.
Yes.
We were quite busy, so we only did a few readings while we were here. But this is a beautiful garden that's put together by Nandagram Mahidara Mataji. And she has done a wonderful job. And just over there is Vrenda Devi in the Tulsi greenhouse, put together by Mother Dayaladini. And we're sitting next to Brinda Kund and the little stream and everything.
And they got 12 peacocks.
They have 12 peacocks. And as you go around, there's a parikram path around the property, and it has all the different places of pilgrimage in Vrindavan. And
I'll put a link. I didn't see. I just uploaded the one where we were on the boat, but I'll put a link on that one and this one, the website to this temple island. Even if you can't come, please look at the website and see.
Yeah, and if anyone out there is interested in living a more simple, natural way of life in a very beautiful place, and also coming somewhere where they need lots of assistance, Or if you wanted to make a donation, then please do that. You can go to the website. I guess you can do that in there. Because, it's such a beautiful place, but it's so remote and different, you know. So like that, but it's so beautiful. Just such a jewel. And you've seen these darshans, I guess. And
I'll show, like I said on the vlog. I don't know how much justice I'll do, but I'll show. It's amazing. Really amazing.
All right, thank you all very much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Kantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai.